I want to talk about something I see every single week. Talented people, high earners, the person in the room everyone goes to when something needs to be solved. And they are stuck, not because they're not smart enough, not because they don't have the skills, and not because the opportunity isn't there. They're stuck because of a loop. And today I'm going to show you exactly what that loop looks like because once you can see it, you can break it. Here's who I'm talking to right now. You're making good money, six figures, maybe more, maybe much more. You've earned it. You've put in the work. You've delivered results. You've sacrificed time with your family to hit targets for someone else's business. And at some point, maybe recently, maybe a year ago, you had a thought. There has to be more than this. You started looking around. Maybe you Googled how to start a business. Maybe you watched a few YouTube videos at 11 p.m. when everyone else was asleep. Maybe you've had the conversation with your spouse, or you've been afraid to, but you haven't moved. I want you to understand that's not a character flaw, that's the loop. The first thing that keeps people stuck is the fear of the unknown. And I want to be straight with you. This fear is completely rational. You've built something, a salary, benefits, a title, a reputation inside a system you know how to navigate. You know the rules of the game. Starting a business, now that's a different game. And you don't know the rules yet. So your brain does what it's designed to do. It protects you. It says, what if it doesn't work? What if I run out of money? What if I'm not cut out for this? And here's the thing about fear of the unknown, it grows in the dark. The less information you have, the bigger it gets. I stayed stuck for 8 years at Nike because of this. 8 years, getting results, getting passed over, telling myself the timing wasn't right. The fear wasn't protecting me, it was just keeping me comfortable. The second thing that shows up is self doubt. And this one's sneaky because it doesn't show up looking like self doubt. It shows up looking like logic. It sounds like, who am I to charge someone for this? There are people way more qualified than me. I don't have a business degree. I've never done this before. Here's what I need you to hear. The skills you've built over 10, 15, 20 years in corporate America, the ability to solve problems, lead teams, fix broken operations, drive results, those are not common. They just feel common to you because you've been doing it for so long. I've had clients who turned around entire market operations, built teams from scratch, managed tens of millions in revenue. And they sat across from me and asked, do you think I actually have something to offer? That's not humility. That's self doubt dressed up as humility. And the person on the other side of that, the small business owner, the brand that needs your expertise, they would pay serious money for what you already know. I'm not ready yet. See what's happening. Fear of the unknown sends you back to waiting. Self doubt sends you back to waiting. You're going around the same loop. Now, let's talk about the one nobody wants to put on a whiteboard, the spouse conversation. And this might be the single biggest thing keeping high earners stuck in corporate America. Not the business model, not the money, the dinner table conversation they haven't had or had and it didn't go well. And I get that. I was there. My family moved to Little Rock to be near our support system. I took a Fortune 100 job, a big pay bump. It looked great on paper until I was working 80 hours a week. I snuck out to take my son to his first day of school because I was afraid to ask for that time off. 30 minutes, right? I left early after 14 hours to make his first baseball tryout. When you're living that life, the idea of saying to your spouse, hey, I want to leave this and start a business, that's terrifying because what they hear is, I want to give up the salary. I want to take a risk with our family security. I have a plan, but I can't guarantee it. And if you don't have a clear answer for those things, the conversation falls apart and you go back to the loop. Here's what I've learned from working with clients on this: the spouse isn't the obstacle, the missing plan is the obstacle. When your partner can see a real roadmap, specific steps, a realistic timeline, and a financial bridge, the conversation changes completely. They're not saying no to the dream, they're saying no to uncertainty. Give them something concrete to say yes to. So here's what the loop looks like when it's running. You feel the pain of corporate. You start thinking about leaving. Fear of the unknown kicks in, and you tell yourself you need more information, more time, more certainty. Self doubt backs that up, reminds you of all the reasons you might not be the right person for this. And then you think about the spouse conversation and you decide, not yet. So you go back to corporate, you keep hitting your targets, and you get that next bonus. And 6 months later, you're right back at step one, feeling the pain, looking around, asking, is this really it? That's the loop. And here's the hard truth: the loop doesn't break on its own, something has to interrupt it. What breaks the loop is not motivation. Motivation is temporary. What breaks the loop is clarity. Clarity on what you'd actually build, clarity on how your skills translate into income, clarity on what the financial picture looks like, not in theory, but your situation. Clarity that gives your spouse something real to hold on to. When I finally left, I didn't leave with a plan. I'll be honest with you. I spent months looking at every business model imaginable: vending, franchising, buying an existing business, service businesses. And then I found consulting, an information based business built on what I already knew. And something clicked because I wasn't starting over. I was finally monetizing what I'd already spent 20 years building. That's what I help people see. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from a foundation most entrepreneurs would kill for, and you just haven't learned how to convert it yet. If you watch this and you recognize yourself in that loop, good. The first step is awareness. The second step is getting a clear picture of what your exit actually looks like. Not the fantasy version, the real, specific, financially grounded version. And that's exactly what I walk people through on calls every week. So if this resonated with you and you recognize that you're in a loop and you've been thinking about how to escape, then reach out to me. Let's talk about it, because this is exactly where I was 2.5 years ago. And you're not alone. This is happening all across the United States. I take 20 to 30 calls a week with high level, successful people that are hitting that ceiling, or they're burnout, or they want to control their time, their income, and their life. So if that resonated with you, check out this video here, and I'll see you on the next one.